The sun was just cresting the vast prairie, staining the sky in furious reds and bruised purples, when the first gunshot cracked through the air like thunder from hell. I spurred Blackie harder, my heart pounding in rhythm with his hooves as we tore through the dust-choked trail. Behind me, shouts and more shots echoed. Those damn rustlers from the neighboring ranch weren't letting up. I'd stumbled into their raid by accident, just checking fences at dawn, but now they were on my tail, bullets whizzing past like angry hornets. "Come on, boy," I growled to Blackie, leaning low over his neck. My mind raced. If I didn't make it to Dusty Creek, I'd be buzzard food by noon. I ain't one for crowds or townsfolk chatter, but today survival trumped solitude. My spread out on the barren flats was a lonely slice of nothing wind, howling like ghosts. Coyotes yipping at night ever since that fire took Ma, Pa, and little sis 5 years back. The flames had gutted everything, including me. I'd rebuilt the cabin with my own hands, but the emptiness, that stuck like a burr. I rode into town maybe once a month for supplies, head down, mouth shut. Folks whispered I was tough as nails, reliable in a pinch, but those blue eyes of mine hid a sorrow deeper than the Rio Grande. They weren't wrong. Loneliness had carved me hollow, a man who talked more to his horse than humans. The trail twisted like a snake, dust swirling in my wake. I thought about the chores piling up, fixing the corral before winter's bite, tending the scrawny herd that barely kept me fed. But right now, all that mattered was outrunning those outlaws. Blackie's flanks heaved, foam flecking his bit as Dusty Creek's weathered buildings finally loomed ahead. I reined him in hard outside the general store, tying him with shaking hands. The echoes of gunfire still rang in my ears, but the street was quiet, kids splashing at the well, women with baskets, men jawing outside the saloon. No sign of pursuit yet. I ducked inside, grabbing flour, coffee, salt, and extra cartridges for my Colt. My stomach twisted. I needed something to settle the chaos in my head. Bread, fresh bread from the bakery across the way. That's when I saw her, slumped on the wooden step like a discarded doll, in a wedding dress that must have been pure white once, but now hung in tatters, dirt-streaked and frayed at the lace. She was pale as death, cheeks hollow, lips cracked, her hands trembling in her lap. "Please." "A scrap of bread," she whispered to passers-by, voice so soft it barely cut the air. Folks glanced down with pity or scorned. Mrs. Hargrove clucked her tongue, muttering about runaway brides bringing trouble, but no one stopped. She looked fragile, like a wildflower trampled under boot, yet there was a quiet grace in her posture, eyes downcast but not broken. Something in me froze. I'd seen drifters before, beggars with hard eyes, but she was different, delicate hands that spoke of a life not meant for this dust. I stepped into the bakery, the warm yeast smell hitting me like a bomb. 2 loaves, I told the baker's wife, Ellie, who eyed me curiously but wrapped them quick. Outside, I stopped before her. She looked up, startled, those grey eyes wide with fear and something raw. I held out 1 loaf. "Here, you need this morn, I do." She hesitated, lips quivering, a tear tracing her dusty cheek. Her fingers brushed mine as she took it soft against my calloused skin and damn, if that touch didn't spark something long buried in my chest. "Thank you," she murmured, clutching it like treasure. I nodded, words failing me. I should have walked away, mounted up, and ridden out before those rustlers caught wind. But her voice tugged at me, echoing my own buried pains. "You all right, ma'am?" She swallowed hard. "Emily Whittaker, if you like, I got here yesterday." Her story spilled out in whispers, forced into marrying some brutal cattle baron twice her age, arranged by a greedy uncle back east. She'd bolted before the vows, hiking miles in that gown, no food, no kin. Hunger gnawed at her, but worse was the shame, the fear he'd send men after her. My jaw clenched. I'd known men like that, treating women like livestock. "Come on," I said, offering my hand. "Let's get you a proper meal at the diner." Folks stared. Sheriff Tate raised an eyebrow from his corner booth, and the waitress, Sally, frowned at M's dress, but served up steak, cornbread, and hot tea without a word. M ate, slow, savoring each bite, color blooming in her cheeks. "Why help a stranger?" she asked, eyes meeting mine, stirring that unfamiliar warmth. "Because I know what it's like to have the world turn its back," I admitted, thinking of the fire's ashes. She smiled faintly, and hell, it lit something in me, a flicker of hope amid the scars. But as we talked, distant hoofbeats thundered outside. My hand went to my gun, the rustlers, or her past catching up. I couldn't leave her here, exposed. "Ride with me," I offered. "My place is safe, quiet, no strings." She searched my face, trust warring with fear, then nodded. As we mounted Blackie, her slight frame before me, the wind whipping her veil, I felt the pull of protection, of something deeper. The prairie stretched endless, but for the first time, my lonely road didn't feel so damn empty. Yet trouble was brewing. I could feel it in my bones. What had I just dragged us both into?